Welcome back to Umbrella Rebellion and us talking about IBLP's men's manual. Let's get to the next question. Number 4. Every culture has the right to make up its own standards of morality. Gee, I think I know where this is going. True, false? If false, can you explain? Number 4. False. God has established universal moral standards which no nation can violate without experiencing the resulting consequences. Oh, this is a heavy one. Only because it's setting up Christians to believe that you can legislate morality. And sticking away from politics, like I said, this podcast would do. I would just say that what Bill Gothard is trying to preach against is secular humanism, right? That is his goal. He is trying to combat that secular humanism he believes is wrong. And let me see. I'm going to pull it up here because I think it's important to establish that that's what he said. Basically, the whole basis of his teachings, I believe, in my opinion, that his whole basis was to counteract what he saw as secular humanism and not having God as the center of morality. With that, I have found where he talked about it in his book, and let's talk about it now. So his first question is, how can I protect my family from the destructive influence of humanism? He goes to define humanism as secular humanism excludes God. It makes man his own highest authority. It teaches that man's pleasure or happiness is the highest good. Moral standards are relative in humanism and give way to situational ethics. And then he says that humanism began with Satan tempting Eve in the garden. And there you go. So I wanted to pull up the definition of secular humanism, a form of humanist theory and practice that rejects religious belief as a basis for moral judgment and action. Secular humanism does state that they believe that morals are basically, from what I understand of this definition, is morality does not need to be tied to God. In the eyes of Bill Gothard, that cannot be true. If that is not true, then we need to figure out how to live life by God's standards. For me personally, I have experienced relationships with people who are atheist or non Christian, and I have not seen evidence that those people do not care about humans. I would say that a lot of them are a better example of Christianity than any Christians I've met. If you go into this teaching or organization and everything they teach, thinking people who do not believe in God are wrong, people who do not believe in God do not have morals, and their morals can change based on circumstances, then this guy presents you with a long list of things of what is moral and what is not. You're more inclined to follow every belief that you're being fed instead of doing the work on your own, researching this stuff on your own, experiencing different relationships with people who differ in thought process and belief and views of the world. It is another isolationist ideology in my opinion. And it's setting up be isolated from these people because they're bad. And if that's the brick you're building on, if that's the foundation that you're building on, that nobody can be moral unless they have God, it goes to that us versus them mentality, right? You set up that whole structure of it's us versus them with that one core belief. And everything that you teach from there on out is based on us versus them. And we are right, they are wrong. Very black and white thinking, which all leads to why I believe this is definitely a cult. It's interesting to look at the stuff after all the work that I've done and seeing things from a different light. Like if I had been going through this 5, 10 years ago, I'm not sure I would see some of the things that I'm seeing now. Look, this is just my opinion, right? This is just my experience. I am open to a discussion about what you think the intent of these materials were, what you think he's trying to teach about secular humanism, and if you agree with me that this is setting up the us versus them mentality, isolationist ideology. So I would really love to hear what your thoughts are on this. So with that, I am going to end this episode. I did decide that I think I'm going to do 3 videos a week. I will publish them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then what I will also do is compile a couple of these episodes into a podcast. And that way I can also continue the podcast with a bunch of these together and put them in one episode. And that way, if you want to have it in a more longer format instead of the short format, just trying to make some changes and get Umbrella Rebellion doing something because I'm very passionate about this. I would love to make this my full-time job. This is something that I would love to transition into, especially considering the health challenges that I have had recently. So if you are able, please make sure that you are following us, subscribing to us, go look for us on YouTube. We're on all the podcast platforms, Substack, Instagram, Facebook. With Substack, you can purchase a subscription to help support this work. We would appreciate it, but we understand that not everybody is in the position to do that. And that being said, I just want you to know that if somebody has not told you today or ever, I am proud of you.